Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog from the Skydome Hotel at Game 2 of the World Series. So again, I apologize for the lack of graphics, the bad audio, the bad visuals, although I'm still here. And look behind me, Dodgers batting practice. Wow. Sort of see it back there. Maybe if I go that way, it's easier. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see what's going on back there. That's happening a little bit later on, but I did not want to leave you good people empty-handed about what is happening in Week 8. This is the NFL cheat sheet. We're doing injuries, we're doing props, underdog, and then a brief look at DraftKings. I'm in a place where I can't play DraftKings this week, so that kind of sucks. I'm not as engaged as I normally would be with that, but we'll take a look at the initial ownership projections over at 4for4.com and see if we can find some nice soft spots, because I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be able to play tomorrow. So that's when I'm going to be cramming everything on the plane tomorrow morning. Granted the Blue Jays win, that would be an extra cherry on top of everything. But you find the rankings right now down in the description. They are all updated, as is the injury report. But I'm going to jump on over and do the screen share because it's just weird sitting here in front of a baseball field behind me. So you're going to be able to see this up on the screen right now. The big thing is the quarterback injuries. Jaden Daniels is out on Monday Night Football. Marcus Mariota starting. Debo and Terry McLaurin both back, so that's a boost. It's good for Ertz as well. Both those guys, top 30 options at wide receiver, top 10 option for Zach Ertz. Mariota's fine. I'm sure you can do better. Lamar Jackson, this was the big one after practicing with the scout team on Friday, is out against the Chicago Bears. Tyler Huntley is starting. Bad news for anyone associated with the Ravens except for Derrick Henry, because the Bears can't tackle. That's great news if you're him. And now you have a garbage quarterback, so all they have to do is hand the ball off. Jean-Luc Ricard is back as well. So they're actually going to be able to block for once. So expect Derrick Henry to be popping up as an over in the prop section a little bit later on. All right, I like his over of 90.5. There, I said it. He's a fantastic play, top 5 running back this week. Michael Penix Jr. on Hotlanta is likely out for the week. Kirk Cousins going to be starting. The completion percentage for both Darnell Mooney and Drake London, both almost double in terms of catchable targets when you have Kirk Cousins at the beginning of last year, even when he was terrible, versus what we're seeing with Michael Penix right now. So I bumped both of those guys up in the rankings. Again, completely free. Check it out down in the description. If you want this full cheat sheet that you're looking at after I make some amendments a little bit later on, that will get sent directly to you into your inbox, completely free. Sub to the Mayo Media newsletter at Substack, or just click the link down in the description. It's pretty easy to do. If you can't figure it out, you're a moron. Tyrod Taylor out for the Jets. Justin Fields, unfortunately, starting again. No Garrett Wilson, no Josh Reynolds in this game. Sauce Gardner on the other side of the ball out as well. Breece Hall going to play. The starting 2 receivers at the moment for the Jets are going to be something named Arian Smith and Alan Lazard, who might be 70 years old. So still like the Jets in the points, though, because they're playing Cincinnati. Brock Purdy is out against the Texans. Mac Jones is starting. Ricky Bullets isn't going to play. Ricky Purcell is out for that game too. Hopefully we see more of Kittle last week. His snap participation was super high. His route participation was way down last week, but all they had to do was run the ball against Atlanta, so he was a blocking presence. We'll see what they do in a bad matchup against the Texans. That's usually a good thing for Kittle, the worse the receiving matchup is. I do have Kendrick Bourne as a top 35 guy. Just ahead of him, I do have Juwan Jennings. Bryce Young out for the Panthers. Andy Dalton starting for the Panthers. I mean, that's no downgrade. In fact, it might even be an upgrade. Who knows? J.J. McCarthy didn't play on Thursday Night Football, but he will return in week number 9. At least that's what Kevin O'Connell is saying right now. At running back, Bucky Irving's out. Kareem Hunt is in after popping up on the injury report for Monday Night Football. As mentioned, Breece Hall is going to be in. There is some caution around Tyler Algier. I mean, he's probably going to end up with 15 carries in this game against Miami, because there might be a chance they do not throw the ball, because with Bijan and him, they could rush for 500 yards in the game. But if he doesn't play, Bijan might break the all-time rushing record against the awful Miami Dolphins. I expect Algier to play, though. He's actually a pretty decent flex start in a week where there are 6 teams on bye and a bunch of injuries. Hassan Haskins did not play on Thursday Night Football. We saw a ton of Vidal, and then in garbage time, we saw a ton of Patterson. Great news for Vidal, though, going forward. Wide receiver injuries, there's a lot. No one on the Texans is starting. Nico Collins is out. Christian Kirk is out. So you're going to get some Dalton Schultz in your life. You're going to get the last Noel. He's going to be out there. The bad Higgins, he's on the Texans too. I get it's against the 49ers defense, which has lost most of its key players, especially in the pass rush, and then losing Fred Warner, at least in that intermediary for the tackling. But I just don't expect them to complete passes regardless of who they're playing, unless they're playing the beat up Ravens or the Titans. That's the only time the Texans have looked competent on offense all year. You might have to do a plug and play. Like Higgins, the best of that bunch, but hopefully you got better options than that. Chris Godwin out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ditto with Mike Evans, who's finished for the season. Egbuka was taken off the injury report, so that's good news. Expect Tez Johnson to be the number 2, maybe Cameron Johnson. Maybe he'll do something. You probably don't want to test that one out, though, because the answer is probably he's not going to do anything. Purcell out, Reynolds out, as mentioned. A.J. Brown out for the Eagles. So if you have to go pick up Jahan Dotson, you can do that. I wouldn't expect him to do that much. It's not like he's a 1v1 swap for A.J. Brown in that situation. He's not going to command 9 targets in the game. Expect a lot of Devonta Smith, a lot of Dallas Goedert. And against the Giants, probably just a lot of Saquon Barkley, although he's looked like dog shit this year. He'll be fine eventually. Probably a nice buy low, honestly, if that's the way that you're looking for, trying to get someone on the cheap that you're hoping has that big second half. That could be Saquon Barkley. But Dotson, if you're in need of anyone. On the Packers, Dontavian Wicks is out, but it does look like we're getting the return of Christian Watson in this game. Not sure if he's going to be on a snap count or not, but I would think that probably takes away from the deeper routes that we see from Matthew Golden. It's not that he won't be running the deeper routes, just he won't be targeted on as many deep routes because you have your other 9 route guy back into the lineup as well. I still like Romeo Doubs the best of all of them on a weekly basis because he is the one who gets targeted in the end zone. Kelvin Ridley out for the Titans. Just don't play anyone on the Titans. Maybe A.O. Manor if you really need someone, but even then, like your team reeks if you're playing that guy. Slayton back. Who cares? Calvin Austin back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At least he is expected to be back for the Steelers. That's actually really good news for the entire offense because everyone else they were running out there as opposed to DK Metcalf was just trash. That's why they're throwing to slow, washed up tight ends for touchdowns, mind you, in the red zone. But in between the 20s, it's not really working out a speedster like Calvin Austin's actually pretty good to have in this spot. And the corners for the Packers, not so good. The pass rush, excellent. So most of the time that gets mitigated, but with Rodgers getting the ball out so quickly, if you can find Austin space, he can make dudes miss. So he is a very capable low wide receiver 3 option in the Sunday Night Football game. Ray McLeod was cut by Atlanta for personal reasons. Then he was signed by the Giants. No clue if he's playing or not. You shouldn't care about it. Josh Downs back from his concussion as a 15.5-point favorite now for the Indianapolis Colts against the Titans. He still plays the 3rd amount of snaps of wide receivers, 4th on that team. It goes Pittman, and then it goes Alec Pierce. When all 3 of them are on the field at the same time, Pierce is still running right around 82% of routes, so he is the one that you would want over Downs. Downs got a fine game here because the Colts should be able to score a ton of points, but just saying, just because, Josh Downs is back, be prepared for a 6 for 37 game and no touchdown. I mean, if he scores, that's not bad. If he doesn't, kind of high and dry. Brandon Ayuk is estimated to return in week 10. Tight end injuries, check back later on Saturday evening or Sunday morning because we don't have the David Njoku news. If he doesn't play, expect Harold Fannin to have 28 targets against the Patriots as they play catch-up. Darren Waller has been placed on injured reserve, so Miami literally has no one left to throw to except for Jalen Waddle, who's still banged up but going to play. Cole Kmet is out for the Bears against the Ravens. The Ravens have returned most of their defense, which is good for them, although their defense wasn't very good, as we saw at the beginning of the year to begin with, when they, gave up 35 points to the Bills over the final 20 minutes of the game in week 1. Then they all got hurt. Then they started getting lit up by the Texans, who can't score against anyone else. Colston Loveland might be in a really nice spot here, running full route participation without Cole Kmet around. Dalton Kincaid has an oblique injury. No word yet on him against Carolina. Mason Taylor as well for the Jets has a quad injury. It does seem like he's going to play. It's funny. They've released all of this news so far about most of the players who are in and out for sure this week. Even on the Jets, they've done that, but with the tight ends for whatever reason. Maybe these guys are just tougher. They're trying to gut out these injuries that they just shouldn't be playing through, but are going to give it a God's honest try. But right now I have all of these guys. I have Kincaid out of the rankings, Njoku out of the rankings, and Mason Taylor in. Honestly, none of them are like great plays. And for a week with 6 teams on by, the tight end spot, it's not looking all that bad. Honestly, when we return, we're going to be talking about DraftKings. We're going to be talking about Underdog and some of the props of the week. So please stay tuned. Now that I'm old, I've had to come to the fact that I just don't bounce back the way that I used to. I don't wake up in the morning feeling normal. And now that football season has started, that is absolutely unacceptable. I got work to do in the morning, and I got kids that are waking up. It's no good. But that isn't a problem anymore because I found ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. The ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists to tackle the rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol the first drink of your night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel the best tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/PatMayo to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use PatMayo at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/PatMayo and use the code PatMayo at checkout for 15% off. For over a century, Johnnie Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereux Go, Johnnie Walker introduces the Johnnie Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, blue label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnniewalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. All right, we're back from Skydome, or Rogers Center, or whatever the hell they're calling it right now. Let's see what's going on in the field. No, the Jays are just playing some catch out there. No one's in the field. There's been people lined up for like 3 hours outside, and I don't know why. You're not going to see anything coming in. The MLB Network studio is right down there. They're live on the field. We watch them get rid of that. Where are we at here? Right there is where you're going to see, like, I think it's Chris Rose. I have no idea actually who it is. But either way, we saw them break down the entire studio last night. That was a ton of fun. But I do want to talk about the prop bets for the week. Obviously, if you go to SharpStack, 4for4.com/Mayo, code Mayo50, get you a free week to try it out. If you like it, code Mayo50 gets you 50% off the monthly. So I would highly recommend that you do that. But my friends at CoolBet have boosted up a 4-player prop parlay. Now, here's the thing. I hit a 3-player prop parlay boosted up last week. So I'm thinking, how can I ever lose again? That's how this works, right? So now we're doing 4-player props for the parlay. Ramondre Stevenson under 50.5 rushing yards, although they're big favorites against a very good Cleveland defense. I think Cleveland kind of shows up in this game if they make it close that, yeah, maybe we'll get a lot of Stevenson. They're very good at punching the ball out too. Stevenson, problems holding on to the ball, as we all know. Just a lot of yards for Stevenson. This anticipates that he is going to get 15 to 20 carries because he's not like explosive. Maybe he'll end up there in receiving yards. I don't care about that. I care about rushing yards. So we're doing that. Alec Pierce, as I mentioned before, Josh Downs is back, but Alec Pierce and his longest reception is always the move. I boosted up a little bit more because I didn't want to take the 19.5, 22 yards or more on longest reception. So Stevenson under 50.5 rushing yards, Pierce over 22 longest reception. Derrick Henry, as I mentioned earlier, I like his over against the Bears. So 91 or more rushing yards for him. And then Romadunze, Italy's own, 23 or more receiving yards on the longest reception. You can beat the back end of this Ravens defense, no problem. Even with their guys back, you know that they're going to be taking some shots. Caleb throws a great deep ball, especially to Odunze. Ben Johnson talked all week about how he wants to get Romadunze back involved. Those 4 things happen, 15.5 to 1, not a problem. What you need to do is go to coolbet.com right now. If you're in Canada, outside of Ontario, which I'm not, so I can't play this right now. But once I get on a plane and go home, I most definitely can play it and will play this one in the morning. I like all 4 of these. So, I mean, that probably means they're going to go 0 for 4, but that's just where I'm at right now. Let's talk about the underdog plays. You can get all these links in the newsletter when it comes out later on Saturday evening, and hopefully we have a few more practice reports that I can update the report as well. It's very similar. It's Romadunze receiving yards higher than 59.5. Derrick Henry, 90.5 rushing yards higher. And then Troy Franklin, that Cowboys-Broncos game, like pick your poison in this game of the guys that you want to take the hires on, but 33.5. He is one of the highest ranked players on the 4for4 unrealized yards, breakthrough receivers. It really hasn't happened for him in any of the past few weeks. He got a very lucky touchdown last week against the Giants, but with his target share, the routes that he runs down the field, and the Cowboys defense is just so bad, and they're going to score points. They're going to push the pace here. You're going to have to throw against that. So you play all three of those together, 6.93 to 1 on your money. Use code Mayo, get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. You get a free pick, and here's the biggest thing, as I wrote down here in the newsletter. Remember to use your profit boost in the Underdog lobby. Oh, yeah. You can play those up to $50. You get unlimited to the end of October, and it's a 30% profit boost on it all. So you could actually take that up to, what's another 30% on that? Like 8.5, 9 to 1, something like that. And if you're new and use code Mayo, if you play $5, you get $100 in bonus funds, win or lose. So who doesn't want a free $95? I sure do, but I've already used code Mayo to sign up. If you haven't done that, you should figure that out. Go do it right now. I'll wait. Thank you. All right. I do not have the overall. I haven't finished the newsletter yet, but let's jump over to 4for4.com, the DFS optimizer and ownership projections. Just want to go to all players, quickly skim through this only because we don't have all of the final stuff in there right now. Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, Bijan. Honestly, I like Derrick Henry at $6,000. I think it's a really good play. Bijan, even at 88. I get the Jonathan Taylor's at 95. I just play Bijan. Bijan against the Dolphins is so spicy. And he's projected at 29. Jonathan Taylor at 27. This does not have in the no Lamar, the no Kirk Cousins. So an update will be coming, I believe, at 7 p.m. Eastern time on 4for4 with all of the updated ownership projections. But we just look at who the best plays on the slate are overall. Goddard, Tyler Huntley, he's now in the system. The ownership just hasn't caught up for him. Bo Nix, there's Kirk Cousins. Again, the ownership hasn't caught up for him. But 4,400, 4,300. I like Cousins way more than I like Tyler Huntley in this spot. Rattler's there. So these are mainly quarterbacks. We just look at running backs. Achane, I just can't get behind that. Can't do it. Won't do it. Jalen Wright's talking about being involved this week, too, from Mike McDaniel. Maybe he's just saying that so he can get fired quicker. Bijan, Chase Brown, Rashad White, Christian McCaffrey. It's a slate with Christian McCaffrey where he's going to be below 20% ownership, albeit in one of the worst matchups. Here's the one I like, though. DeAndre Swift, 4% ownership against the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, I don't think he's that good, but he's given ample opportunity until this defense, even with their guys back, show that they can stop anyone. Playing an opposing running back against them is usually a pretty good idea. Just go into wide receiver, take a look at the best values on the board. Jamar Chase leaps off the board with no Sauce Gardner against the Jets. Devontae Smith, Jalen Noel, Drake London, Chris Olave. Then finally, we're at Z tight ends, Goddard, Schultz, Otten, and what is going on? Juwan Johnson. I guess they're testing the PA behind me here. Maybe I think we're getting the Jonas Brothers sound check. Maybe we can see what's happening over here. What do we got? No, I don't see any Jonas Brothers out there yet. They're just doing the live mic checks. We got some more action on the go. The pitch clock is already set up. We're like 2 hours away from first pitch here in game number 2. There's some great Blue Jays boosts at CoolBet right now. If you're watching, you're in Canada, outside of Ontario, hit this description. You will find the link there, some home run props. Jays super boosted up. But I don't want to take up too much of your time because I got to get ready to go enhance myself for this game. Thank you all for watching. Good luck in week 8. Sub to the newsletter that's coming out in about 90 minutes, and I'll update it again. And you can find the full updated cheat sheet for free at 4for4.com if you're looking for that too. All right. Thank you all for watching.